Hello. Today you see another update of our short-term market development. And this time I use our new feature in our platform, which we just released last week. And I hope all of you have already seen this kind of new feature. So with this kind of view, it's far easier for you to identify where you should focus on. Yeah, where you may see some interruptions soon, as you can see all your major trade lanes in one view. Yeah, this is the new market trends view. If you click over here, and you have two possibilities: either you create your own list of the trades or pair pairs you would like to follow, or you follow the predefined global trends, which we did for you. So I did my own one, and you do see now the different corridors over here, or pair pairs: Lam Shabang, Japan main, yeah, China main, South America East Coast main. This, for example, is the trade we discussed last week. Yeah, and we'll discuss it in more detail today as well. So what you do see over here is all the different trades or pair pairs where I decided to follow on. Yeah, and at the moment I only compare the short-term market, as you have to switch as usual, or you have to define the market metrics. I compare it against short-term market average data only. And over here, I've chosen just the last 4 weeks. And at the moment, you do see the change from this week versus last week and in percentage. Yeah? That means you do see on Lam Shabang Japan main since last week, this short-term market average rate dropped by 5%. Yeah, China main to South America East Coast dropped by 3%. Yeah, the remaining ones, they are quite stable, which is not unusual. We're in the middle of a month. Yeah, and you see North Europe main to South America East Coast slightly up in the last week, and China main, North Europe main 7% up from last week. This is mainly related to rate increases which were announced for mid of the month, yeah, which were partly successful in this one. So therefore, this is now what you do see over here for the last week, the change, yeah, and average, as I said. But you can also compare it against the market alone. There's a slightly different picture. And what was quite interesting for me is that we have seen China main to South America East Coast main. It was stable on the average, but since last week, yeah, the market low dropped by 20%. Yeah, does it mean that the increases, what we have seen on this trade, do not really stick? Therefore, it does make sense to have a closer look into this trade lane to check what is going on over here. At the same time, on the market low side, all the others didn't really change that much. Yeah, but when we talk about the oil pricing and the short-term market, I would like to compare today's rate against 3 weeks ago, because this is the last week of April. Yeah, and this is, and I do it again against the market average, not low. And what you find over here is this trade remains same. Yeah, minus 5%. China main, South America East Coast is still up by 11% compared to end of April. And China main, US East Coast main slightly down. Same North Europe main, US East Coast main. Yeah, and China main, US West Coast, this is what we have discussed earlier as well, is still up by 13%. Yeah, and this is the kind of information which should always allow you on the most important trades for you to really check what's going on. Have a quick look every week, yeah, on this one, in order to see where does it make sense to have a stronger focus on, or is it good enough what I do see over here, because the market doesn't really change that much. Yeah, and you see, for example, China main to North Europe main, market is up by 5% compared to 3 weeks ago, and the major increase happened last week. So this is just the change in percentage. We also have the possibility to show this in the US dollar values, that you have a better understanding as well. What does that mean? Yeah, about what kind of increases or decreases do we talk about? Yeah, to have a better overview. When you use this kind of view, you can also say, look, I would like to understand now, how did the market develop in the last 6 months? And if I compare now against 6 months ago, and I would just jump back to the percentage view. Yeah, this is including the IMO 2020 increases, which happened earlier the year. Yeah, which vanished completely on some trades or from some carriers. And this is now what you do see over here today. Yeah, this is today, 3 months ago, and I've picked now 6 months ago. This is this dot, 9 and 12 months. And this kind of overview helps you as well to see what was going on in the trades and what is the trend overall. Yeah. And this is for sure the trade we already discussed before as well, which is just show again, okay, this one, North Europe to Middle East, which is since 6 months ago, 55% up. Yeah. With some decline recently. All the same on the other trade, which is heavily increasing, North Europe main to China main over here, which is 100% up, yeah, compared to 6 months ago. Yeah, this should just give you a very good overview what is recently happening, really within the last weeks, but also how did the market change in general compared to the last time when I probably asked for prices from my suppliers, or when I did my last final negotiations. What is to expect? How did really the short-term market develop? And for sure, you have the same as well for the long-term market, yeah, because you can compare this against the long-term market as well. But as we would like to focus on the short-term market with this kind of view, this is where I really would like to deep dive into. Yeah, and just to come back on one trade which we already discussed, and this is also quite interesting. Look, we mentioned China main to South America East Coast earlier. Yeah, where we have seen a strong increase in the last weeks. And as I've just showed you, the last week there was a sharp drop on the market low. Yeah, and compared to 6 months ago, this is 30% below the price levels at that time as well. With this kind of view, you can jump straight to our trends view or the benchmark views. There depends what you would like to see. I prepared this already, and this is how China main to South America East Coast main looks like at the moment. And this is exactly the increase what we discussed last week, yeah, where the short-term market went up. And what we do see at the moment is on the low side, it is still higher compared to beginning of May or end of April, end of April, beginning of May, because the rate level at the low one was 715. At the moment, we are at 815, but this high increase to 1,000 didn't really stick. It dropped again. The situation on the average is looking slightly different. This is more stable, slightly dropped, but it is still on a higher level. Yeah, and the mid low is over here as well. This dropped as well, a bit sharper than the average. Yeah, not as sharp as the market low. And this is now really interesting to see as well what is going on in this trade. Are there other GRIs coming up? Yeah, will these GRIs stick? And with the new market trends view, it will be easy to check all your major trades to see what is really currently going on. How can I prepare myself for the next negotiations, or when one of my suppliers turns up and say, look, this is what's going on in the market, and you can refer back and say, look, I know what has happened, but it didn't really stick. Yeah. All the information is available anyhow on the platform. We just try to give you a better overall view, which is easier for you to really keep track of the different movements in order to help you to move even quicker within this fast moving industry. If you have any questions, as usual, just let me know or reach out to your contact ex Xeneta, and I wish you a fantastic day and speak soon. Bye bye.